Let's start with that big kind of bombshell move that happened yesterday evening, and that is Brian Burns getting traded to the Giants. The Giants send a 2024 second and a 2025 fifth to Carolina. Team also, they swap 2024 fifth rounders. That doesn't really matter. The main headline of the trade here, a second round pick going back to the Panthers, and the Giants signing Brian Burns to a 5-year, $141 million deal. For some context, that's a $28.2 million AAV and $87.5 million guaranteed. That is second to Nick Bosa in both of those categories. The first 3 years essentially are guaranteed, plus the signing bonus. So if you want to compare this to a deal that happened in the last calendar year with similar trade value going back, Montez Sweat had $63 million 3-year cash flow. Burns is at $90 million. So this is about as healthy of a deal as you can possibly get outside of resetting the market. So good for Brian Burns, and a symbol that the Giants were really willing to be aggressive chasing this exact kind of presence within their defense.
It's kind of what you have to do. I mean, really, that trade is perfectly fair, I think, for the Giants end, but it's that knowing that you have to pay. And I think Burns has kind of entered kind of more of the very good tier to me. Borderline star, can get pro bullish.
He never took that step. We were kind of waiting for him to take it over the last couple of years to become that truly dominant force. And he never quite got there, even though he is a very good edge, and very good edges are hard to find.
That's it. It's very good edges are hard to find. When the Sweat trade happened, that's how I felt. And I think the same. I think they're in very same tiers, but I actually think the Sweat trade has already aged very well. And of course, but having said that, they have to take an age, all that kind of thing. Burns, I think, has played in various defenses. So I think no matter what, he's kind of scheme proof. He is in that very good tier. He can get after the passer. He can win one-on-ones. He's a contributor in the run game. He's a smart player. He can be kind of boom busty because he's smart and he'll make some guesses, some better bees. But it's hard to find these guys unless you spend a top 15 pick. This is that's what he was. He was a top 20 pick. That's what you have to invest and wait. When you're a team like the Giants, they have holes everywhere. All right, so now, okay, we can do this with our second rounder. Okay. All right, now we got an edge. All right, now our defensive line's looking really good. Now we have a strength on our defense to build off of. Okay, all right, now we can figure out all these other parts. We can use our first rounder. We can use our other picks to shore up other parts, to add weapons as well. So it made sense to me as I kind of more thought about it, even if the sticker price is very, very high, which I will admit.
Maybe this is just because I'm too close to it, but with the Bears trade for Montez Sweat, I can understand it with their timeline, right? You've built it up for 2 years. You're an ascending team. You have fewer holes because you've been able to fill a bunch of them with free agency dollars, just etc. It felt like that was a natural step in their progression as a team. What do you make of the Giants' timeline as currently constructed?
It's a little. They are not a team. Put it this way: if you gave me like 5 teams to say where do I think Brian Burns would end up, the Giants would have made those 5. Would not have made those 5 teams because
just based on where they were,
just on where they're at, right now. Because
it makes sense, but in terms of where they're trending and where they're headed, it's a little bit murkier with them.
Look where the Bears were at. Also, the Bears I think had a good spot of like, okay, this is what we need too. I think too the Giants are transitioning defensive play caller for one thing. Also, the Bears, even with Fields and what turned into the number 1 pick, they had a quarterback answer. You know what I mean? It's either Fields or a draft pick. The Giants are a question.
There was a path forward for the Bears, a clear path forward. There is not one for the Giants, and that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So if you make a big move at other positions, usually the first answer has to be, what's your answer? A quarterback. That's why you make these kind of moves. So I'm with you in the sense that it's oh man, this is hard for me because in a team building sense, I understand making it's hard to get this type of player. You're creating a true strength of your defense. A true game plan strength every single week. That's what the Giants have up front now. But do you need that right now? It's not like it's the Cowboys or it's another team that like can make a push right now. So that I do have some hesitations to that end.
I was talking to a general manager last summer, and we were talking about how you leverage a rookie quarterback contract financially. And one of the terms that he threw out that I was like, oh, that's a good way to phrase this. I haven't thought about it that way before, was pre-spending for the rookie quarterback contract. When you know it's happening, rather than looking outside of your building, to get free agents who you're often overpaying for? Can you either pay your own guys or make some trades where, okay, we're not spending it after we get the guy. We're not doing what the Dolphins did with Tyreek Hill or what the Eagles even did with AJ Brown. We're going to try to do that before we even get the guy in the building. That's what the Bears did. They knew they were getting onto the rookie quarterback contract timeline. So you can pay DJ Moore, you can pay Tremaine Edmonds, you can pay Montez Sweat. And it became very clear when they knew they were going to have a top 2 pick by the time they traded for Montez Sweat. For the Giants, are they necessarily going to be on that rookie quarterback timeline? Are they going to stick with Daniel Jones? So there's a lot of questions here. I will say their moves outside of the Brian Burns contract, I think, do make a lot of sense. Bringing in Jermaine Illuminor on that very reasonable deal, which is $7 million a year. Yeah. He's right in the middle. That there's no other offensive tackle in the NFL that makes $7 million a year. So the guys who are real stopgap swing guys like Riley Reif last year, guys in that range were at like 5. And then the bottom line veteran starters are at like 10. So he's right on the edge, with that I think is very telling, because what this does is it gives you a high-end swing guy that if you want to put him in for Evan Neal because that experiment fails, you can do that. You have John Runyon there now, who is a capable starter. So they've looked for competency in some places. Devin Singletary is another very good example, replacing Saquon. But then they make this huge swing for Brian Burns. And I'm just trying to do a little Pepe Sylvia connecting the dots of like, what does this all mean for their quarterback plan? Where are they heading? And I haven't quite gotten there yet.
And then they signed Drew Lock.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So it's just I'm with you. I don't know. I think they're open to everything. I think that's what they're kind of going down this. Okay,
maybe that's the case. Maybe they're like, yeah, we'll see how it unfolds in the top 6. Our guy's still there.
Let's build up the rest as we assume that we can go down any path. So I think maybe that's what they're going down, because like you say, getting the opportunity cost of missing on a high draft pick is that you are not only you're giving snaps. What I should say is not only he's not working out as the star that you think he is, you're also giving snaps to sometimes a negative player that you otherwise wouldn't be. You would just say, hey, that's a below replacement level player or replacement level player. Shoot, we got to upgrade from it. But that's the cost. You're getting negative snaps, losing snaps out there. So that's what it's a ripcord, that signing. It's just in case.
This is a good patchwork move. It's like, all right, if this does not work out, at least now we have an option on the roster.
Maybe camp hits, and our best 5 is not what we expected, but at least we have 5 guys that can play. And so that's another thing. Now you have answers, more means to answers at least. So I like those types of signings a lot when teams, especially a lot.